Hey everybody, Chris here, the Day-to-Day Apologist. Welcome to my What Jesus Said series, part 52. Today we're going to be reading Matthew chapter 10, 32 through 36. It's called Jesus Sends Out the 12. Now before we get into it, make sure you watch my other videos, the last 3 or 4, because they're all connecting because Jesus has been speaking to a specific group of people for a while now. Kind of like my old videos with the Beatitudes. So if you haven't watched the other one, stop this video. Go to my playlist section, scroll on down, What Jesus Said tab, enjoy. So with that said, let's read what Jesus has to say in Matthew chapter 10, 32 through 36. It says, "Whoever acknowledges me before men, I will acknowledge him before my Father in heaven. But whoever disowns me before men, I will disown him before my Father in heaven. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace to earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. I have come to turn a man against a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Enemies will be members of his own household." Yikes. So before we talk about how to apply this in our day-to-day, let's talk about where Jesus is and who Jesus is speaking to. So where's Jesus? Well, he's somewhere around the Sea of Galilee. And who's he speaking to? He's speaking to the disciples, not just to the 12, but the other disciples that are there as well. So it's his core and the other disciples that are following him. And he's sending them out into twos to different towns to heal, preach, and to take care of people, just like Jesus has been doing. He's been speaking to the disciples. It's like, okay, now it's time to practice what I've been teaching and doing myself. It's time for you to do. So how do we apply this in our day-to-day? Great question. 2 major points. 1, it is absolutely necessary to seek out and to share the gospel message with others. We can't wait for them to come to us. Now, there are times in which that will happen, but Jesus is sending them out and he's saying, look, remember, you need to acknowledge me before man because I'm acknowledging you before my Father. I'm saying, look, these people are following the way we live and the way we love man and also want to change and impact man. And so if we're not representing Jesus, if we're blowing him off or disowning him or avoiding conversations when they get brought up, that's disowning God. And when we do that, we need to remember that Jesus says, I will disown you before my Father. That's not good. So if you are doing that, if you're blowing off what God's saying, he's like, speak to that person, talk to that person, pray to that person, pray with that person. And we're like, oh no, I'm too busy, or no, it's going to be conflict and I don't want to deal with conflict. You need to repent. In my opinion, you need to repent and then you need to do what God says. Jesus said, those that love the Father do what the Father commands, just like Jesus did. Also, we need to remember that connects with this, but there are aspects of conflict, and it ties in with point 2. Conflict is inevitable. And we live in a conflicted world. Man is corrupted because of their own rebelliousness, and they have issues with God, and Satan is also using man, and so there's going to be conflict. You know, I'm reading articles that talk about my millennial age group and the Gen Zers that are saying, these are Christian, by the way, they're saying, oh, evangelism is just totally pointless. No point in doing this anymore. And that belief is growing. So why is that happening? Well, I think it's because of what Jesus says at the second point. We want to put Jesus as always just peaceful and loving and never addressing and conflict and dealing with conflict or rebuking or correcting, because those are dirty words. And Jesus would never do that. But yet here's Jesus saying, look, I didn't come to bring peace to the earth. I've come to bring a sword. Now, what does he mean when he says that? Is he like running around slashing people up and things like that? No, I think it's more like a person who takes a piece of big chunk of meat and separates the fat from the meat. You know, fat is only good on rare occasions. But the meat, in order to cook the meat right, you need to sometimes cut away the fat. And I think maybe this isn't the best example. You can tell me if you don't think so in the comment section. But I think Jesus is saying, look, there's going to be a division because of my message. And it's going to be like a sword. It's going to be sharp and pointed, and it's going to cut, and it's going to separate. And I think Jesus understands this personally because his own family did that to him. His brothers and sisters rejected his claims of divineship. His hometown laughed at him, tried to kill him. So he knows what it's like when doing the Father's work creates this conflict where family rejects and leaves. It's really hard and really painful when family that you love and care about do those things to you. And I've known people that's happened to, and it's really painful. But here's the hope, okay? Since Jesus understands, we can go to Jesus and he can empathize with our pain. And he can go before the Father, and the Father will pour out his Spirit upon us and heal us slowly but surely. Rejection and hatred is inevitable. It's not personal. They're hating the message. You're just the messenger. So I hope these 2 points have really helped you out. Make sure, as always, you comment, like, and subscribe. Let's get out there. Let's share our faith. Let's not be afraid to engage on social media, in person, at our jobs, at our homes. And let's allow people to ask questions and to find Jesus as we did. God bless you guys. Keep running the race.